Our story stems from inside Arkham Asylum. The troublesome Penguin plays bingo while another inmate keeps nagging him about escaping. He says he's willing to split millions with him that he buried at a cemetery if Penguin orchestrates his escape. He told someone else about the money, some crazy guy with a few screws loose. That familiar-sounding man escapes, and Penguin doesn't want to be second place, so he drops the guard escorting him and finds the keys on him. Bingo. Meanwhile, Batman is alerted to their escape. It's the Joker who's running wild. He's confronted by Penguin, who suggests they become partners. He's tricked and zapped by the Joker, who takes off, but instant karma hits when Batman appears out of nowhere on his tail. Penguin makes it to Gotham Cemetery where the money is supposed to be. Batman continues to chase the Joker until he finally corners him. They both begin fighting, but this time the Joker isn't joking around. Penguin ventures down a crypt and unlocks an eerie tomb, cutting his hand in the process. He doesn't find the money inside, but instead finds a lifeless corpse. His blood drips down on the body, and suddenly the corpse begins to grow. A terrifying creature rises out of the tomb, petrifying Penguin as it chases after him. Batman drops the Joker, who tries to rush at him but falls and hangs off a ledge. He tries the same trick on Batman, but he's known as the world's smartest detective for a reason. The Joker drops himself off but realizes the mistake he's made, and he gets electrocuted in the water, making this his one final joke. Meanwhile, the Penguin is still running.
Why are you running? Why are you running?
The vampire smells his blood, and an unsuspecting cop enters the scene. After sucking him dry, the vampire now displays tremendous speed and power, and he possesses supernatural powers as he wakes the guard up as a vampire. He spares Penguin so that he can serve him and guard his sleep. The Penguin isn't given much of a choice as he's mind-controlled anyway into serving him. Back at the Batcave, Batman is brooding over the death of his longtime nemesis. Without a single trace of the Penguin, Batman is left clueless. The vampire claims that he's been at rest for a very long time and thinks that he's in Transylvania, but Penguin tells him that he's now in Gotham. Is this Dracula? It seems that after Dracula was killed, his remains were moved to Gotham, and he intends to take a tour around the city while the night is still young to literally drink it all up. The next day, Bruce is in an interview being flirty with Vicky Vale. As the sun sets, he has to dip to pursue his Batman activities. Back at Wayne Manor, reports of multiple disappearances baffle Bruce as well as the police. Determined to not lose anyone else on his watch, Batman gets patrolling. In the mean streets of Gotham, a woman has her purse snatched by a thief. The vampire cop gets the culprit and then drinks up the woman before Batman can intervene and stop him. The vampire displays supernatural abilities as well, but he's no match for Batman. They all turn into vampires and attack Batman at once, but Batman flees and they follow him. He's pinned at a railway and manages to get away just in time before they're rammed by a train, but their bodies are nowhere to be found. After drinking up his fair share of blood, Dracula looks more human now. He's intrigued by the man who calls himself a bat as well as dresses like one. He's impressed that his street cred still holds. The next morning, Bruce tells Alfred what he saw, and Alfred is a little skeptical. He reminds Bruce of his date with Vicky, and Bruce cracks a smile. At sunset, Penguin wakes up Dracula, who's now in his full form. An entire army of vampires wakes up around him as they look set on conquering. At a dinner party hosted in Wayne Manor, Dracula infiltrates the party. Vicky catches his attention as she's accompanied by Bruce. Dracula claims that he's here from Eastern Europe to observe Batman, and he follows Vicky around. As the butlers serve appetizers, Dracula hisses at the sight of the garlic shrimp, and Bruce smiles, having found his weakness. Dracula sets his mind control on Bruce and leaves to find a body. Bruce finds himself mindlessly wandering outside, but Alfred wakes him out of his trance and he hurries back in. Annoyed, Dracula goes to the basement and catches a familiar butler to feed. Alfred later spots him and makes his way over to scold him, but he notices that the man doesn't have a reflection. Realizing he's a vampire, Dracula hits on Vicky one last time before leaving, and Bruce follows him, but Dracula has already turned into a bat. Bruce and Alfred figure out that it's the Count Dracula and later get to research. Fearing what is yet to come, Bruce intends to find a cure to treat all the vampires and revert them back to normal. Meanwhile, Vicky does some digging into Bruce before she gets an urgent call and hurries off. An eyewitness has seen a giant bat kill one of the victims, and they surprisingly announce Batman as the killer.
Well, this could put a kink in the relationship.
Meanwhile, Dracula is staying past his bedtime to watch Vicky, as he cannot be more infatuated with her. He intends to make her his bride. Bruce investigates the disappearances, and Alfred has covered everything in the house with garlic. Batman goes to the cemetery, where he is spotted by a cop, and an entire SWAT team sets off to go after him. He's ambushed by the force and flees. They chase him to an abandoned building, where he picks them off one by one. Dracula joins in, killing the forces instead. Batman makes it to the roof and is met by Dracula, who reveals to him his plan of making him serve him. Batman tries to attack him, but Dracula is too fast. Sensing the garlic, he dodges every weapon that Batman throws at him. Dracula gets running and Batman chases after him, but Dracula tells him that he can't outbat him. He dispatches his methods twice before asking him to join forces, but Batman refuses. There can only be one Bat, and Dracula tries to kill him. The sun rises just in time and saves Batman, burning Dracula and forcing him to flee, but not before vowing to end Batman. Batman drags his battered body home, and after being treated, he's rolling in his bed from having nightmares of his parents' murder. Dracula visits him in bat form, but Bruce wakes up from yet another nightmare. Later on, Penguin is on his way to wake up Dracula, but he's surprised by a visit by the Joker, who's still alive. Joker is still looking for that hidden money and chases Penguin down to the tomb. He finds Dracula's coffin and goes to check it, but Dracula wakes up and feeds on him. Later, Joker becomes a vampire and breaks into the blood bank. Batman sets out to investigate and he's trailed by the Joker. He attacks Batman and they both get into a fight. Joker keeps drinking blood, which increases his power. It then literally rains down blood, turning Joker into an animal. Batman uses his modified weapons to take him out, intending to use him as a test subject. Refusing to reveal Dracula's resting place, Batman intends to bring back the Joker with some blood work. Alfred researches the long history of vampires while Bruce works the lab. Meanwhile, the city is filled with missing person reports. The people are paranoid and hide away into the night. Bruce experiments with the blood, but the Joker's blood doesn't withstand the power of sunlight. They discover the identity of Carmela, Dracula's previous bride, who was known to be more viscous than Dracula himself, and she is a spitting image of Vicky, who arrives right on cue. With the Joker problem at hand, Alfred tells her that Bruce is running late for their dinner plans. The starving Joker eats a cockroach. Alfred and Vicky discuss Bruce and his issues, and she suspects that he's not coming. Meanwhile, the Joker is in anguish and Batman teases him with his blood. He does more experiments on him until finally, the Joker's blood is stable. Bruce had forgotten about Vicky, but he's dead set on ending the vampire epidemic in Gotham, and he feeds the Joker, who senses that something is off about the blood. He suddenly falls in agony and becomes healed, revealing where Dracula is. It turns out, though, that the virus makes you forget your memories while you were a vampire. Regardless, Bruce intends to end Dracula tonight. Vicky misses her train back home, and Dracula creeps up on her, intending to capture her. Vicky tries to call Bruce, but he doesn't answer as he's preparing the antidotes. He then calls Vicky back, but she doesn't answer. He opens her message to find that Dracula has taken her. Immediately throwing caution to the wind, he gears up and gets going to save her. Dracula prepares the blood wedding, as he intends to resurrect his wife through her. Carmela, who was scorched to ashes by sunlight, can only be resurrected by feeding on Vicky's very essence of life. Batman arrives at the cemetery and finds Joker's footprints there. He finds the catacombs that Dracula used to move around during daylight. As Dracula begins the ritual, he senses an unwanted guest. Batman is attacked by a vampire and he injects her with the antidote, which works and turns her back into a normal human. An entire army of vampires appears, and now there's only one thing left for Batman to do. Shots, shots, shots to everybody. After he's done playing doctor, everyone wakes up as a human again. He quickly takes out Penguin and interrupts the ceremony. But Dracula controls his mind, and he eventually succumbs to it. Bruce relives his parents' murder, and overcoming his anguish, he wakes up. He returns Vicky's life essence to her and she wakes up, but now Dracula is enraged. They begin fighting and she runs away, but Penguin wakes up and goes after her. It is a close fight between Batman and Dracula as Batman tries his best to maneuver the overpowered supernatural being. He uses smoke bombs to disappear and escape, but it doesn't matter. Batman calls for Alfred's help and starts making his way through the catacombs back to his cave as he's chased by Dracula. They continue to catch each other and fight some more until eventually Batman blasts his way to the Batcave, but he's too weak now to fight. The poor Batmobile is flipped over, and Alfred decides to get to work. Penguin finds Vicky and chases her, and they stumble upon the buried treasure. Meanwhile, Dracula intends to make the Batcave Batman's tomb, but Alfred has other plans. He fires the cure into him, but it doesn't work. Dracula basks in his glory and how unstoppable he is, but Batman fires the sunbeam into him, and he shows him who the true Bat of the Night is, finally killing him. Penguin's mind control wears off, and he becomes distracted with the treasure as the police find and arrest him. In the end, Penguin takes the fall for everything, and Batman's name is cleared. With the watchful protector looking over his city, the streets of Gotham are safe again. This was a great film that was truly ahead of its time. Dracula against Batman, it doesn't get better than that. Never in our wildest dreams would we have ever thought that a concept like that would be explored, let alone have such a great film. We hope there are more movies like that with even more supernatural creatures taking on our favorite heroes, because let us just say, this was one of our favorite comic book animations of all time. Well, this brings us to the end of today's video. Don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to our channel to get more videos like this one. Your support helps us grow. and tell me what you think about this film. Did you love the idea of Dracula facing Batman? Who else would you like to see make an appearance and face superheroes in these supernatural face-offs? Let me know in the comments below. I read all of them. And if you're watching till now, thank you. I'll see you in another video soon.